Hi, everybody. I'm Howard Kellman. The Indianapolis Indians and Pittsburgh Pirates have had a working agreement since 2005. And I'll be back to talk with this week's guest, the radio and television voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Greg Brown, after these messages. Our guest today is Greg Brown, the longtime radio and television voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates are the Indianapolis Indians parent team. Greg, how are you doing?
Howard, I'm doing great. Great to see you virtually, but great to see you. Doing well.
Well, it's great to see you too. And you and I first met when you were in Buffalo. And not too long after that, you got the Pirates job.
Yeah, it was a great experience for me. As you know, Buffalo's a great, as is Indy, great baseball towns. My first love in broadcasting has always been baseball. And when the Pirates job opened up and I had an opportunity, I kind of jumped on it. But I wouldn't give up those 5 years in Buffalo for anything in the world. We had some, as you know, some hardcore rivalries going on with the Indians and the Bisons those years, Howard.
Exactly. 1991 and 92, the Buffalo Bisons won the division. The Indians finished second, so I well remember that. And you had some prior contact, had done some work for the Pirates beforehand.
Yeah, I spent almost 10 full years in the organization doing everything imaginable. I started out in promotions. I started selling promotional days, did a lot of pregame, in-game entertainment work with the team, developed into a job as a radio TV coordinator. So kind of set up the radio and TV networks, did some PR. So I got my foot in the door early in my life with the team. And then I just kind of went around and was kind of Mr. Fix-It for several years. And dipped my toes in the waters in all aspects of the organization. And as I said, my first love was always broadcasting. When a chance came up to do some games up in Buffalo, I took that opportunity, and it was tremendous.
In 1990, 91, and 92, the Pirates had terrific teams. They won the NL East, and you got there shortly after that. The decline began in 1993. And then in 2013, after some 20 years of not being in the postseason, the Pirates not only had a winning record for the first time, but were in the postseason for the first time. Tell us about that and what that was like.
Well, if you have a second, I got to tell you a story, Howard, about our good buddy, yours and mine, Steve Blass, who is one of the funniest human beings on the face of the earth, also one of the great pitchers in his day, and then a longtime broadcaster. So as you mentioned, I was in the Pirate front office for about 10 years when I went to Buffalo. So my 10-year span with the organization ended in 1989. I went to Buffalo. It was my first year, 1989. When I went to Buffalo, not only did I announce Bison games, but eventually I started doing some Buffalo Bills work and did some color work for them. So spent time in Buffalo, came back in 1994, was my first year as a Pirate broadcaster. And in the middle of that summer was the baseball strike. It was August of that year where the teams, the players went on strike. And the organization decided to try and get the announcers out and about and just keep baseball in the minds of people as best they could. One of my first gigs, I was a guest speaker at an event not too far away in Butler, Pennsylvania, about 20 minutes from Pittsburgh, at a country club. It was a luncheon, and Steve Blass, our good buddy, introduced me that day as the guest speaker. And I was nervous as all get out. There might have been only a couple of hundred people there, but it seemed to me there were 2,000 people there. And so here we are again, gone to Buffalo, did Bisons, but Buffalo Bills, which was a big deal, came back. The Pirates, by the way, in 1994, that started their slide. They were, at the time of the strike, they were the worst team in baseball. So Steve gets up there to introduce me. He says, I want to introduce our guest speaker today. He left the Pirates in 1989, at which time the Pirates began a string of winning 3 consecutive National League Eastern Division titles. He went to Buffalo to announce for the Buffalo Bills. at which time the Bills lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls. He's back in Pittsburgh as a Pirate broadcaster. The Pirates are in last place, and there's a baseball strike. Please welcome our guest speaker and good luck charm, Greg Brown. And, you know, I can laugh about it now, but I will never forget, Howard, that day you could have heard a pin drop. I mean, the jaws were like, who is this clown getting up here? Well, lo and behold, the losing continued, as you said, until 2013, when it finally all came together. And they had a run there of winning 3 consecutive wild card opportunities. They fell short in 2015. They had the second best record in all of baseball. Unfortunately, the team with the best record in all of baseball was in their division, the Cubs. So they had to go to another wild card. So they won 1 wild card, 2013. They beat the Reds, went to the division series against the Cardinals, took it to 5 games. They were within 1 game of winning it all in Pittsburgh, fell just short. Andrew McCutchen, in fact, had a drive to deep center field in the 9th inning, came that close to hitting which would have been, I don't think Pittsburgh would be around today. They would have destroyed the city had that ball left the ballpark. It would have been mayhem. So, but I had always felt, kind of growing up in the organization, that this was a great baseball town. I've always felt that way. I don't think it's unlike, to be honest with you, any other city in the country. And sometimes Steeler fans get mad at me, and to a degree, Penguin fans get mad at me that, oh, this is a football town. This is a hockey town. I always correct them. No, this is a winner's town. It's like any other city in the country. And I said, believe me, I don't take pleasure in saying that, but having witnessed it in Buffalo, especially for the Bills, don't tell me that's not as good a football town as Pittsburgh. So anyway, I had preached that forever, that all they needed 2 things. They needed a baseball park. And for years they played in a football stadium, 3 Rivers. Well, they got the ballpark in 2001, but they didn't have the team. They were terrible until 2013, when it all came together. And it was just a magical, that experience. Those 3 years were, as they were magical. Fill the ballpark every night, and they're trying to get back to that, even currently now, trying to do that.
And after those 3 years, the team slid again, and the regime changed, with now Ben Sherrington as general manager and Derek Shelton as manager. Tell us your thoughts on the new regime.
I think for me, I'm almost withholding judgment for 2 reasons. Number one, I think they deserve an opportunity. I like what I've seen so far, but I truly discount last year. I throw it out. I called it the asterisk season. Without disrespecting the Tampa Bay Rays or the Los Angeles Dodgers, who went to the World Series, the Dodgers won it. For me, it wasn't baseball. Major League Baseball is a 162 game season. It's not 60. And that's what separates baseball from every other sport. So last year is kind of a throwaway year for me. And because of that, this is almost the first year for Cherington and Shelton. They're doing good work. He's already, in terms of Cherington, he's done, from what I gather from other publications, from people in the know outside of Pittsburgh, scouts, pundits, so on. It seems as though they've stockpiled some talent in the minor leagues. We're starting to see that now. It's going to take some time before they get to the big leagues. So I like what Cherington has done. I think he's bold. He rolls the dice. He understands he's not going to hit on everything, but he's not trying to just kind of be a middling team. He's trying to win at some point down the road and not just be average. And in terms of Shelton, in the time I got to see him in spring training a couple of years ago, 2020, before it was shut down, I loved the atmosphere of the clubhouse. There was a natural jump in people's steps, unlike I had not seen in a long time. For a while there, I think everyone, including players, and certainly we in the media, were kind of walking on eggshells in that clubhouse. Looked like people were looking over our shoulders all the time. It was uncomfortable. Shelton has changed that. The players, I think, seem to respect him a lot. I think he still is growing as an in-game manager, but I think he has all the qualities of a really good, successful Major League manager before too long.
That's very well said, Greg. We'll have more with Greg Brown, the radio and television voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is WHMB. TV 40. Back with Pittsburgh Pirates broadcaster Greg Brown. And Greg, I saw an article in the last couple of weeks, maybe you came across it. It was about announcers, baseball announcers, and working for their team. And one of the quotes was from Harry Carey, who said, "When the team is bad, I have to be better." And they were talking about maintaining a positive attitude during challenging times. And one thing you've always done, and I give you credit for, is you have maintained that positive attitude.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Howard. And likewise, I think, I think you and I share the love of baseball. And it's really not unlike what I was doing in Buffalo, where, you like it when the team wins. Of course, that's what we're in it for. We love sports because you have a winner and a loser. It's maybe a little more meaningful at the big league level, but I think almost regardless of where you're broadcasting, that is almost secondary. And so what you want more than anything else, what I want more than anything else, is a good ball game. And the better the team is that you're broadcasting for, the better you are as an announcer. Howard, I find it comical, and this is without fail. Over the many years as I've been a Pirate broadcaster, as you know, most of the years have been losing seasons. In fact, there was a story, I think, in the Pittsburgh Tribune Review that ran nationally. Somebody did some research that found out that apparently I'm the losingest broadcaster ever. So wow. I better laugh at that. My buddy Mike Lang, who's the longtime voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Hall of Famer himself, said, "You'll always have that." Wow. They'll never take that away from you. But the point is that I am a baseball fan, and so I like the game. I respect the players and what goes on in that field so much. But without fail, regardless of the years of losing, there is always a stretch of games, over 162 games. You can't help it just by sheer luck. You're going to win. There's going to be a stretch of games where your team wins 11 of 14. You might reel off 10 in a row. And all of a sudden you say, wow, this team's pretty good. You just have, again, with 162 games, it's naturally going to happen. And almost without fail, every time it does happen, I can't tell you how many people, and they're very sincere and I appreciate it, people around the ballpark, fans, friends, will kind of pat me on the back, or they'll email me or text me and say, "Wow, you sound great." And I thank you very much. I kind of walk away. I really appreciate that. And I kind of chuckle to myself, isn't it funny? I'm getting all these compliments as the team has suddenly won 10 of 13. I never sounded better. And this is the truth. I got more people everywhere saying how great of an announcer I was in 13, 14, and 15. I mean, people said, "You are one of the best broadcasters in all of baseball." And you're like, no kidding. The Pirates went to three straight playoff games. And so I understand that. So in order to kind of keep my sanity each and every day, and I do mean this, and you know this, Howard, better than I do, that I never take baggage with me to the broadcast booth. People say, how do you continue to be positive about the team when they've lost, heck, at one point it was 5 years in a row, 10 years, 11 years, all the way up to close to 20 years of losing. How do you do it? How do you go to the game every night? Your team's terrible for 20 years. I said, well, actually, I don't, first of all, carry that 20 years of losing into the booth. The great thing about the game of baseball is, like, it's a good book. It's a novel. It could be a crummy page that you've just read, or it's kind of, but boy, suddenly it's starting to get good. And you turn the page, and each game, I turn my scorebook page, and it starts fresh, and it's a clean slate. And every game, there's a different story to tell. Whether it's Tyler Anderson, who will pitch for the Pirates tonight, or Key Brian Hayes. What an incredible story he is. What is he going to do tonight? Or you have a player or two that gets hot, either on your team. You may be playing a team, as we are this series, who's in the hunt for a division title in the postseason. They have a great story to tell. And you never know what you're going to see, because Howard, I've saw two plays I've never seen before in a 2-week stretch. I saw our first baseman walk a player, Chicago Cub, back to home plate and not get an out, and they scored a run on it. And I saw a player hit a home run less than 2 weeks later and miss first base. So you never know what you're going to see. So that keeps me going.
I think that's beautifully said. And, you know, I can understand and appreciate you getting all those wonderful comments when the team was winning. In that article I saw, Howie Rose, many years ago, the radio voice of the Mets now, asked Lindsey Nelson who he thinks the best announcer in baseball is. And Lindsey said, I'm not sure, but I guarantee you he works for a winning team. And then Lindsey started laughing after he said that.
That's great. Exactly. I'm so glad I've not read that story. I'm going to now, but that's the whole point. It's really, again, it makes me kind of chuckle. I appreciate, because people are very sincere about it. They don't realize what's going on, but I guess it goes back to the simple thing is the game's the thing. It's not us in the booth. It's, we're only as good as that game is, because boy, we've had some clunkers. And we have some games where we're just, what are you going to talk about? You're 2 innings, you're down 10-2, or you're ahead 10-2 in the third inning. My goodness, you kind of fight it. But boy, when you have a good game that's clicking and firing on all cylinders, after the game ends and you say goodbye to everybody and you're getting in your car and you're driving away, you're thinking, boy, I was really good tonight. Even I get caught up in it.
Tell us about some of your broadcast partners over the years and your thoughts on that.
Well, good. A guy that I grew up kind of idolizing was Steve Blass, the pitcher who won the '71 World Series almost single-handedly. He would have, in fact, there's an argument to be made that he should have been the MVP. That's blasphemy here. Pardon that pun, but Clemente won it, of course. But Blass, 2 complete games, including the Game 7 clincher. He became and still is a very good friend. He retired a couple of years ago. The other guys in the booth that have been there a while now, Bob Walker, former Pirates pitcher, John Wayner, former utility player for the Pirates, also great friends of mine. And now we've added kind of to try and fill Steve's shoes. I guess you need more than one guy to fill Steve Blass's shoes. So they've had Michael McHenry, former Pirates catcher, Kevin Young, former first baseman, third baseman. We have Matt Katz, former Pirates closer, doing some games, and I think we might even have Neil Walker doing some games later in the year. So we got kind of a rotation going, and I'm enjoying it because they're all different. They're all. I think we're so lucky. This business and this game can be quite egotistical. Sometimes you almost can't fit people in a small booth because the heads get so big. But not the case with our guys. They're all humble. We all get along. And it's a real treat, and it really keeps things fresh too in that booth when you're working with different guys.
That's well said. The game has some challenges now. Too many strikeouts, obviously. What are your thoughts about the new rules being put in, and they were effective last night, where pitchers will be checked to see if they're using foreign substances?
I guess I'm trying to keep an open mind as best as I can, Howard. I get my wrist slapped on occasion from my bosses that say, you keep ripping the game. You talk about you liking the game, but you keep ripping the designated hitter. You keep ripping on replay. If you keep doing that, I said, no, the reason I do that is because I love the game so much. I want fans to understand why I love it. I love it. I love the National League game because it is so different than the American League game. And I really believe that people that are just flippantly deciding, oh, pitchers can't hit, I'm bored with it. They don't understand the game. And so it frustrates the heck out of me. Instant replay. Howard, instant replay, the only, in sports, the players can be fallible. The fans can be fallible. Coaches, managers, the only people that can't be fallible are the umpires. So it frustrates me. In terms of the new changes, I guess I'm trying to keep an open mind. I almost wish people would leave the game alone. Maybe they could put a moratorium on changes for like 5 years and just see what happens. But I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm trying to be open-minded. If it improves the pace of play, if it improves offense, more power to them. I know they're trying. Again, for me, the frustration lies in constantly trying to change what is such a great game. I'm a fan of tradition, and I'd like at times people to appreciate tradition a little bit more.
We have a pitch clock, and we've had one since 2018, since 2015 rather. And I think that's a good rule. I'll tell you, Greg, that everybody adjusted to it within a couple of weeks.
Well, if that, like I said, see, for me, and I guess I appreciate that. And I know in the lower minor leagues this year, they're also doing the other things of taking away the shifting, the limiting the throws to first. So I guess that's good to know, Howard, because if it works. Now, I guess the question I have, are we going to need to put that at the big league level? Because they seem to adjust at the AAA level, but they don't seem to carry it on with them to the big league. So maybe that's where to get down to at some point. We're gonna have to put the clock here at the big league level.
Greg, I want to thank you very much. It's wonderful spending time with you. We've been friends a long time, back to your days in Buffalo, and I congratulate you on all you achieved. And thanks so much for taking time out to speak with us.
Howard, it is great to see you. You're one of my all-time favorites. Thanks so much, and really appreciate you having me on your show.
That's Greg Brown, radio and TV voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll have more on WHMB TV 40. Thanks to all of you for watching Kellman's Corner. We thank our guest, Greg Brown. And next week, we'll talk to a man who played in the major leagues for 13 years and also was the Indianapolis Indians hitting coach for 3 seasons, catcher Butch Weiniger, a 2-time All-Star. See you next week.